Hi guys, welcome back to the Forgetful Scholar, and this week we're going to chat about books. Two full books, no novellas, two full books. So one is a fantasy adventure book, and the other is a historical paranormal romance. So we're going to start with the fantasy adventure book, which is The Fallbacks, Bound for Ruin by Jaleigh Johnson. Now, this is a Dungeons and Dragons book. 3 stars. Next. No. So, what can I say about it? I had fun reading it. I did. And as someone who plays Dungeons and Dragons, I saw a lot of things. I was like, oh, that's this spell. Oh, totally. I get what this is. You know, and I got it and I enjoyed it, right? I will say that there's a lot of, because this just came out, right? 2024, and it's 287 pages. I don't want to give anything away. I had fun reading it. I will say that there was a little too many flashbacks for my taste, personally. And we get a chance in all the group's POV. So there's Tess, who is the leader and the rogue. There's Anson, who is the fighter, I believe human fighter. Tess is an elf rogue. There is Kazan, starts with a C, Kazan. She is a human wizard. There is Baldric, who's one of my favorites, is a dwarf cleric. And my other favorite is Lark, who's a tiefling bard. And then Oogie, who is their pet little monster. Can never pronounce the name, right? And they're in Faerun. I always go like Faerun because of the syllable over it. Anyway. When the book starts off, it's kind of like a really fast pace where you jump right into it. They're in the middle of a dungeon crawl. And it's not looking good because they're fighting intellect devourers. And I'm trying to figure out what level, because there's no way they're level 1 or 2. They could have to be at least, through this book, I was like, they have to be at least level 5 and up. And if you play the game, you know. Because level 1 against a bunch of intellect devourers, yeah, no way. Just no way. And they get this book, and they try to go to the wizard who hired them for the job, and the wizard is murdered, and Baldric? No, I think Aston and Anson is framed for the murder. And this group just got together, right? And the flashbacks, we get how the group was assembled, you know. I liked them, right? Especially their pet monster, Oogie. We even get her POV, which is pretty adorable, but at one point, the POV, I was like, what are you doing putting this in the middle of this, right? But I'll get to that. And I have to say, Lark, but I kind of like those characters, the sort of sarcastic, flamboyant, I don't give a crap. I like those characters. So I enjoyed Lark, and he's very much a bard. And I like that it didn't go stereotypical bard that wants to, get everything into bed. I liked that. Because, I'm so tired. You get it. Anyway. Baldric was really interesting because his cleric doesn't... Usually clerics are devout soldiers. Yeah, they're healers mostly, but they're, they pray to one of the gods in the world, and they get their powers from that god, right? Or goddess, whatever. And Baldric's like, nah. So he sort of negotiates each different entity, different deity for what he needs at that moment. And this leads to some fascinating storylines. Because, okay, he has to heal this guy. He's using this deity's power to heal this guy, but that means he has to do this favor. So it almost adds side quests to the group, and I kind of love that. And I'm like, oh, that is such a fun thing to do. I think later on it might get, in an actual game, it might be too chaotic. Because imagine, your teammates are down... they failed a death saving throw. Death saving throw is when you hit 0 hit points and you have to roll a dice, and you roll it. If it's 10 and up, it's a success. And if it's 10 and low, 9 or lower, it's a fail. So if you get 3 fails, you're permadead, right? If you get 3 saves, then you're back, but like 0 HP, but you're like stable. You know what I mean? So imagine in a real game, your teammate failed 2 saving throws, they're about to die, and you have to get to them to heal them, right? I think it would be a little chaotic. Like, I have to pray to, which god should I pray to? Like, I think in real world play, that would be really difficult, but it was fun reading about, right? So that was fun. And I liked the different personalities. I was very clear on who personality was who and stuff like that. So with such a big main cast in a book, that could be difficult, right? And the fighting scenes, love them. Very accurate to actually playing, but also entertaining. You know, when you're reading it, it didn't feel like a turn-based system. You know, so I really enjoyed that. We get Tess's point of view the most, and I have to say she's the character I like least. It's just, she's a bit controlling. Like, she was the leader and everything, right? But she's a little controlling for my taste, and she wasn't really letting Lark, for instance, prove that he could be trusted, right? So she was kind of harsh on him, and later they hash that out and they figure it out, and I like that, you know? So they get this book, and their friend is framed for murder. So now they're on a quest to figure out what's up with this book, who's after them, things like that, right? So enemies from Anson's past come back to them. The wizard's getting a little too obsessed with this book, and this book, it's not a spoiler because it's in the description, is a sentient, very evil book, right? So the source of, so the wizard's kind of getting a little possessed with it, you know? And when the cleric Baldric is trying to heal somebody or do a spell, there's like an evil entity trying to make a bargain with him. So I feel like for this book, there was too much possession going on. Like, I was like, okay, because the entity that's trying to take over Baldric, that wasn't resolved. So I wonder if that's, you know, for the next book or something like that, which is fun. I probably would read that, you know. But I was like, okay, that's a little, like, maybe if that entity's presence came up in the end of the book, like maybe around the 3rd act, maybe the end of 2nd act, I'd be like, ooh, okay, that's, you know, to be figured out for the 2nd book. I like it. But it was sort of there the whole time. And I was like, so is that connected to the evil book? You know? Is it connected to the enemies? And I don't want to give away what the enemies are. I thought they were really good, really interesting. If you play Dungeons & Dragons, you'll be like, ooh, those are horrible to fight. So yeah, there's a lot of flashbacks. And the thing about the flashbacks, I felt they were in weird places sometimes. Like, they cut the tension. So they're running away from the night guard after they found the wizard that hired them dead, right? So they're running away from the night guard, and then boom, flashback on how she put the team together, or like with one of the team members. I'm like, what are you, just standing in the middle of the road reminiscing when like the night watch is after you? What's happening right now? Or in the final boss fight, which I really enjoyed, and it was so chaotic, and there were so many enemies happening, and I was like, oh, they're all is this gonna be a TPK or just total party kill? Which happens a lot more than you think. And I was like, oh no, because it was the enemies, and then like man-eating earthworms. There was a lot going on, and the evil book, like, it was a lot going on. They were fighting a war on 3 sides, right? So it was a lot. That's why I'm like, they can't be level 1. Anyway, but in the middle of this, we got Oogie's point of view, right? And we got Oogie's point of view before, when they were running for the Night Watch. And the tension before we got Oogie's point of view was already cut because of the flashback, at least for me, right? So then we got Oogie's point of view, and I was like, oh, she's so cute. Oh, so it was a cute little, adorable moment in the middle of this. And I didn't really felt like Oogie's point of view cut the tension, because the tension was already cut by flashback, right? So in the final boss battle, we get Oogie's point of view, and I was like, no, stop it. Right in the middle? Like, stop. Like, I get it. Oogie's scared, and she's adorable, and she loves her people, but, like, I want to get back to the fight. Like, they're all about to die. Can we not? So, like, that's why it's 3 stars for me, because the tension for me was cut by these flashbacks and Oogie's point of view that we didn't need at the time. Like I felt like they could have been put in different places, or maybe even start the book with her collecting her team, you know? That way, no need for flashbacks, because there's time jumps in this, right? And then, you know, maybe Oogie's really happy after the fight or something. If you want to put her POV in there, it's just, it cut the tension, you know? It did, unfortunately. Especially for a book that did these magical, crazy fights really well on the page. I was like, oh, that's disappointing. That's disappointing. But I had fun. And it could have been I just had fun because I like Dungeons & Dragons. That's very, very possible. I don't read many like pure fantasy or adventure fantasy, you know. But that being said, I enjoyed this fantasy book. Okay. Just, I'm going to leave that there for your consideration. So the second book is the historical paranormal romance, and it is Dream of Me, Viking and Saxon Book 1 by Josie Litton. This is 391 pages, and the book said it was published in 2003, but I think this was just a reprint because it's 2 books in 1. This was a 5-star. I loved it. I had a great time. I will say, the title, Dream of Me, meant F all. It had nothing to do, there was no point in the book where she had like a dream of him or he had a dream of her. Like, no. Like, I don't even know why that was there. Like, she was having a nightmare when his vessel was like staking out the place, but that was like it, right? So this is a paranormal historical romance because she is an empath. So, Simbra, I'm gonna pronounce her name that way because it's a C, and if it was supposed to be pronounced with a K, it wouldn't be just Kimbra. But so Simbra is the younger daughter of Hawk, and before going into this, you gotta know the guy's name's ridiculous. Hawk is her brother. Wolf is the main guy, and Wolf's little brother is named Dragon. So just going into this, be like, yeah, this is ridiculous. These names are like corny as hell and ridiculous. Just be aware. And this is a historical romance dealing with Vikings. So I will say, for trigger warning, there is off-the-screen talk of SA, but Wolf gets of like characters that aren't even on the page, you know. But Wolf arrests, I guess, those perpetrators, and there is a point in the book where the main character Simbra is almost SA'd, but she is saved. Okay, so I'm gonna put those trigger warnings there because I would appreciate those before I read these things as well. So, you know, so that being said, this is about the Saxons and the Vikings, so it doesn't really give a date. So I'm thinking around, you know, it could be anywhere from like, because the Vikings, the Saxons, and the Danes are the enemies. So it could be like 900 to 1100, you know, CE. So around there. It doesn't really give a date. It's her brother, because Simbra, when she was younger, like, she couldn't control her abilities. So, like, the way the book describes it is like heartbreaking, like how she was losing her sanity, things like that. So her brother put her in Hollywood, which is an isolated like keep of his, and and only sent healthy people, like never wanted her around sick people. He was trying his best, right? And you could tell through the book that Hawk really loves his little sister, you know, and she loves her big brother. Like it's a sweet family relationship. So she's there for a long time, and apparently, like, her tales of her beauty just hit the world, right? And we open on Wolf getting put into prison in Hollywood. And, like, he hates her, and he hasn't even met her yet. So you're kind of like, oh, what's the tea? What's up with that, you know? And when she shows up, he's shocked at how gorgeous she is, you know? But also surprised at how kind. You know, he expected someone cold, evil, manipulative, and full of hate. What he found was someone who's very sweet, caring, and not a pushover. Like, I liked in this book where she stood up to Wolf and was like, no, not gonna happen. You know, and I liked that a lot. And I liked that Wolf's response was amusement, and that he liked that she was like not a docile, like boring, you know, he liked that she had spirit, you know. Um, he kept comparing her to Frigg, which is the Viking goddess queen, you know. So anyway, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. I don't feel really well today. I think I'm getting a cold. You guys don't need to know that. But, you know, if I'm a little all over the place, brain fog has fully set in. So let's see. So she tries to, like, are you guys hungry? Do you need water? Is anybody injured? And he's so surprised. Not only is she kind, but she can speak Norse, right? Everything's fine, blah, blah, or she thinks everything's fine. She talks to her maid about how she hates this war. She wants it to end. And Wolf is even more confused because he got a letter. Well, I'm not going to say why, but he's even more confused, right? But he kidnaps her, and he planned to take her as, like, a prisoner and do horrible things to her. But, like, oh gosh, like, his POV and how much, like, he already, like, loves her, wants to protect her from the beginning. It's so cute. Like, I know, but, you know, romance novels, okay? There's a certain, you know, you gotta let your brain just shut off for a while. And it was so cute. And how he was, like, internally struggling because he wanted to treat her like an enemy, but he couldn't. Yeah, and there's forced marriage in this pretty early on, right? So most of the book is them being married and figuring that out, right? And the way Kimbra helps her abilities is she has these internal walls, but she's a healer, right? And I liked how when this came about, when she, like, shared what she could do, because there was, when she got to the Viking settlement, there was a slave, Britta, who Kimbra was like, nope, you're not a slave anymore. You're my assistant. I'm going to teach you the healing arts, right? So I liked when this all came about her abilities. It was because Britta kind of already knew, like, she guessed, and she's like, well, all the great healers are like that. You know what I mean? Which I thought that was so kind of nice, how it was like how they, like, everyone around her validated her in a weird way. Like, no, yeah, we get it. And that's probably what makes you such a great healer. Like, it wasn't like, witch, ooh, evil. It was like, oh, that's why you're so sensitive. Okay. Because it came about because Wolf arrests a group of other, I think he thought they were Danes, turned out they weren't Danes, but other Vikings that raided and pillaged a settlement of his. And if you know what that all entails, then you know why I gave the, you know, you hear about SA secondhand kind of thing. And he is about to sentence them, you know, for their crimes. And he wants her away because he knows how sensitive she is, but he doesn't know the reason why. He just doesn't want her upset. And, like, because it's huge, big Viking guy, but he doesn't want his, like, wife being even, like, a little sad. Like, it's very cute. Like, it's so cute. And, like, this author did a great job of just finding Wolf, the Norse Wolf, the most terrifying Viking, and making him so sweet to her. And I just ate it up, you know. I just ate it up. I love it, you know. Because I love Grumpy Sunshine. I especially love when Grumpy is like a marshmallow to Sunshine, and any gender that goes in. You know what I mean? So, like, I loved it. I loved it. And you know, so he knows something's up. And then the third act. Okay, let me tell you. The third act, I'm not going to give stuff away because usually I don't care if a romance novel is this old, but, like, I don't know. You guys should check it out if you haven't read it, and I don't want to spoil it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to be good with this one. I'm trying to be good. Let's see how long it lasts. Probably not long. Let's see. Anyway, the third act was so overdramatic and ridiculous, and I ate it up. I loved every second of it. Because Hawk shows up, because he, you know, his sister's kidnapped, and he's been searching for her, and he's terrified and worried and everything like that. And he shows up, and, like, Simba's trying to convince him that she's happily married, right? Because she is. She's happily married. But let's just say Hawk causes more problems than he intended, you know? Like, it's so overdramatic, brink of war stuff, and I freaking ate it up. And I loved it, and at the end of it, it gave, like, when I was finished with the H, EA, which is happily ever after, because it's not a romance without that. It's just not. Deal with it. Anyway, I thought we already discussed this. So when I finished this book, it like reminded me why I love romance novels so much. I've had that like warm, glowy feeling, and I was like, I loved it. So yes. The only thing wrong about this is that the title makes no goddamn sense. Anyway, so I'm happy I got a few more books from this author, because I'm really looking forward to devouring those. So that's it. I don't want to, but it's time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.